One of the girls came to me and asked if she could speak to me privately. I went aside with her and she said, I'm on my period now and I don't have any pads and my parents don't have any money and I need a kit. I said, of course, let me take care of that for you right now. She was very grateful. And she just had the biggest smile on her face. And I said, now you never have to worry about that again because now you are covered. And she was so happy. And it made me feel like, for this one girl, we had made a difference.
You're listening to Connecting the Dots with Kenya Connect,
a podcast in collaboration with Kenya Connect and Simmons College, covering current issues in Kenya and beyond.
We'll be sitting down with Simmons faculty, Kenya Connect coordinators, and students over the course of 3 episodes, talking about issues that matter to them.
I'm Erin.
I'm Janelle.
And we're your hosts and virtual study abroad tour guides.
Periods. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about them.
Erin, when was the first time you got your period?
The first time I got my period, I was I think I was 13. I think I was in 7th grade. And I remember, the first time you get your period, you're always like, oh my God, am I dying?
Yeah.
What is
literally
happening?
Bleeding.
Yeah. It's scary. And you have no frame of reference, obviously, for what it's supposed to be like. So you just go to the bathroom, going on with your day. And you look and you're like,
oh,
I guess I'm dying.
I'm dying now. I'm going to go hug all my dear friends and family. Tell them I'm bleeding out.
Yep. Yeah, I remember I came to the bathroom and I was crying. I was like, Mom. And she was like, it's fine. You just got your period.
Normal. My first period story isn't that eventful, but something I do remember, I got my period, I think kind of late, not super late, but I got it in 8th grade. And I remember, I don't know, I think I learned it from a friend, and I think she must have not been a good friend because she told me that whenever you go to the bathroom and you had your period, you were supposed to take your entire backpack with you, and that would make it somehow less conspicuous. Yep. So in the middle of class, I would just get up with my entire backpack and just I'm going to the bathroom. Everyone would be like, why are you taking your bag with you? I just need it. I just need my bag because I didn't know the good old sleeve trick where you just stuff your pad or tampon in your sleeve and you just sort of scurry off to the bathroom. And I've done that since high school, always hiding my pads, and now I'm just I'm going to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I have my period. I have to go take care of myself.
Woman-centered college.
There we go.
It's a thing.
I think it's pretty interesting because I think now in the U.S. we're starting to address the weird taboo that we've had for a long time about talking about periods. It's a very natural thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it is being discussed more. I think in general the cultural social stigma, but also the negative impact that synthetic products have on our body.
Right.
Yeah. And, in this episode, we're going to be talking about kind of the social, cultural stigmas that we have observed in the U.S., but also in Kenya.
Yes. I think periods aren't as openly discussed in Kenya as it is in the U.S. And I think we're somewhat privileged because even though we're kind of terrified that we're bleeding out of our bodies at 13, we're able to talk about it with other students and teachers sometimes. I remember sometimes I'd be caught at school with my period and I can just go to a female teacher, be like, hey, I need a pad, or I need to go to the nurse's office and get some kind of sanitary product for myself. And I never had to miss school because of my period, but that is a privilege. That's not the case for some students in Kenya.
Exactly. And today we're going to be talking to Laura Carter about the recent initiatives in Kenya and the effects that she's also observed with her students in Kenya about these recent initiatives. Hi, how you doing?
Yeah, it's me. Fantastic. How are you?
Good. Janelle's also here with me.
Hi, Laura. Thank you so much for all the work you've been doing for us. We super appreciate it.
My pleasure. I love Kenya Connect. I love sharing it. So thank you for being part of the project.
Laura began working with Kenya Connect in 2008. Her first project with the organization was the Pen Pal Project, which encouraged communication between her 6th grade students and primary school students in Kenya.
Now in 2017, Laura continues to initiate development projects for the organization. She is our contact in Kenya and has worked with us to organize communication between Simmons and Kenya Connect students.
2 years later, she traveled to Kenya and fell in love with the culture and students. We talk with Laura about the sanitary pad project Wings POA. It's a project that's encouraging Kenya Connect students to prioritize their education and their health with the use of reusable pads, which enable them to attend school comfortably while on their periods.
Everything that we do at Kenya Connect is focused on improving education for the students in the community in the hopes of better preparing them for the 21st century to be successful members of the 21st century global economy.
For the last couple of years, Kenya Connect staff has been hearing from teachers and headmasters that many girls weren't going to school when they had their periods. So as a result, the Kenya Connect staff and board started looking for solutions. Faith Doucette, a Kenyan from Wamunyu and board member, worked with some friends to create a reusable sanitary pad project. She traveled to Wamunyu last year together with her friend Marissa Goldberg, and they taught teachers and students at the Wamunyu Special School how to make these reusable pad kits. Then they also worked with some women at Chiangai Women's Co-op to teach them how to make drawstring bags to put all the materials into. And then thanks to a grant that Faith helped to garner from World Help and a Johnson & Johnson Caring Crowd fundraiser that one of our former interns, Emma Boone, recommended, Kenya Connect was able to purchase 3 sewing machines and all the materials to make the kits for the reusable, washable sanitary pad project.
Johnson & Johnson, the baby care company?
Yes.
Janelle and I are actually just discussing there's been a rise also in reusable pads in the U.S. There's a lot of initiatives now to get rid of those synthetic products. And you mentioned something interesting the last time we spoke, which was that the girls actually want to use the synthetic kind of westernized products.
Yeah, there was a kind of pushback against the reusable pads. Can you talk a bit more about that?
Yes. So when we introduced the reusable pads, we're calling them Wings POA. Wings because the shield is shaped like almost like a bird with 2 wings. And POA, which means cool, here is a kind of a slang term for cool. So
nice.
The young people, when they pass each other, they don't say jumbo. They say POA. And it's just like cool. So we call them Wings POA. So when we first introduced them to the secondary students here, there was pushback because they felt, and they told us privately, that they didn't want this product. They felt that this was a product for poor girls, for girls who could not afford to buy the good one. And so they didn't want to be seen as a poor girl. They wanted to be known as, an everyday ordinary girl, an average girl. Nobody wants to be thought of as poor. Nobody wants to be pointed out as, oh, she's too poor to afford sanitary pads. So that was one issue, was being seen as a symbol of poverty. And the second issue was it felt to them like maybe this was going backwards in time to the days when their grandmothers or even their mothers might have folded up some old rags and placed them in their underwear. But now they have access to these beautiful, fresh, new, disposable Western pads. They come from the West. They must be better. And of course, they want that, the most modern thing available. So we had to sort of backtrack and take a look at those 2 issues for them and help break that down for them and for us to determine whether this would even be a viable project. So the first thing we did is try to look at what were some other reasons why a girl might want to use a reusable pad, something that's washable, as opposed to something disposable. We did find some research that suggests that it is possible that some of the chemicals and bleaches used in disposable products might also find their way into a girl's bloodstream. And that probably isn't a good idea.
Right.
So we didn't say, oh, this is dangerous, don't use it. We came out and said, these are the chemicals and some of the processes used to create this product. And then you wear this product next to your body. And so you have to decide for yourself if you are comfortable with that. But you should know that that's what you are doing. We also talked about a little bit about tampons and toxic shock syndrome, although tampons are not a product that is widely used here in Kenya. It's just there's sort of a cultural, I wouldn't say a taboo, but it's just not commonly done.
That's fair.
You don't actually find them in the stores here in the village. You would find them in Nairobi. So then that was the first reason. One was health. That it's possible that these products might have a negative impact on your health. And whether or not they do, you should at least know what they're made of and make that decision for yourself. The second reason we looked at was that the disposable product is not good for the environment, because we here in the rural areas use and rely on pit latrines. A pit latrine is very expensive to build, and it has a temporary lifespan. It's not a permanent facility. They fill up and they become obsolete. They have to be filled in and abandoned. So the idea here is to make your pit latrine last as long as possible, because they are so expensive to build and because they take up land on your property, which land is, of course, priceless. So we looked at and we talked about how the disposable product might fill up your pit latrine pretty quickly. And so if you want your pit latrine to last for longer, you don't put things in there that you don't have to. Disposal of these products becomes an issue. So let's think about what we might use instead of something that we have to throw away every time. So the second reason was the planet. And the third reason that you might want to consider this product, it's also healthy for your purse. Because once you have the Wings POA kit, you don't need to buy pads anymore. And the kit should last you 1 to 2 years, possibly longer.
That's great.
It begins to wear out. Yeah. So if you're spending 500 shillings per month on pads, when you could spend 500 shillings on a kit that lasts for 2 years, the advantage is clear. So we kind of tried to reverse the order. Let's look at the planet, let's look at our person, and then let's look at our purse. So there are multiple reasons why a girl might choose to use Wings POA. So the kit includes 2 shields that are waterproof, 8 liners, 2 Ziploc plastic bags so that they can store the dirty one and then wash them in the larger bag without touching anything, because they didn't want to touch them, and 1 pair of underwear. All of that first batch of things was donated. But now it's a sustainable project, we hope, in that the groups who are making them will be able to sell the product and earn enough income back to continue purchasing the material that they need to continue making more.
How do you determine what schools or which students to give the pads to? How do you assess that need for the kits?
Of course, we'd like to give them to all the schools, but we have to sort of go slowly, a little bit at a time. So we started with the Access High School students because we see them every week. And this is a group of secondary girls that we have a relationship with. We meet with them every week. It's a 2-year-long program that's run through the U.S. Embassy. It's called Access. And so since we had an ongoing relationship with, we felt that that would be a good group to begin with, because we would be able to explain to them. They would be able to come back to us with questions. It would be more comfortable than going to a group of girls that we don't know.
Mercy is the co-coordinator of Wings POA. She spearheaded the business networking initiatives and manages the books for the organization's project.
She and I have gone together to do the training. And at the elementary school, we brought all the girls of age into one room. And together we trained them and showed them how to put them together, how to wash them. And of course, she can speak their mother tongue, so she could translate everything I said. And we made a really good team.
Mercy, what's your day-to-day job like in managing this project?
My day job in managing the project. Okay, that's the first time we've done it with the 2 schools, with the 3 groups, as you've heard from my friend Dora. That's the Access students, the Wamunyu Special School, and the Nunga Primary School. With that, when I get all the information or I get the feedback from the girl and see, that is from May. Okay, with the special school, I have to go and talk to the teachers Since the girls they are not able to manage it themselves, it must be managed for them by the teachers. So when I go there and hear from the ladies teachers, it's when I'll be able to know if the program is benefiting them or it's doing good to them. Then after then, I will go to Nugaga Primary School, as I've said before. See the girls whom I get, since I have their records, I have their names and age of each, and the classes also. I'll go get get the questionnaire as I told you. I'll be able to know if they have done it or they are yet to do it, and those who have done it, how beneficial it is to them.
So, what are some of the questions you ask on that questionnaire?
Like, for example, the Wings Power Kit is helpful.
Did they use it?
Did they use it? Maybe. Yeah, that's another question.
How were they able to wash it?
Were they able to wash it? Yeah.
Do they have a good place to dry it?
Sure. Yeah.
Is it comfortable?
Yeah.
How does it feel?
How does it feel in them?
Or maybe even would they recommend it to their friends?
To their friends or parents.
Or their mother?
I know here in the U.S., and you can chime in, Erin, I think there's a culture sometimes at school that you have to like hide your pad or tampon when you're going to the bathroom. Is there a kind of discreet behavior with the girls, and do the kits help with that sort of
navigating that social stigma?
Yeah.
At first, they were not so cooperative on the project, but the moment we went to explain to them about the business idea behind the project, they took the project with a lot of energy and a lot of impulse on it, and they made the bag. The bags are the sizes.
So we designed a drawstring bag, which is about, I would say, 8 inches long, maybe 9 inches long, and about 4 inches wide. And this fits the shield thing into it, and then it makes like a nice big round stuffed pink bag, and it just looks like any little carry bag you might have.
Oh, wow.
Like anything they might normally have, a little drawstring bag. But then when they need to use it, that bag will have just a Ziploc bag and fresh liners.
Kenya Connect staff met and shared the prototype kit with our teachers, who recommended for a much smaller drawstring bag that could easily fit in a dress pocket. So with feedback from partner teachers, Kenya Connect recommended making these little drawstring bags.
After talking to Laura about Wings POA, the importance of accessible and natural sanitary products is clear. From educational, financial, and sustainable perspectives, we can see that Wings POA has a vital place in the Wamunyu community.
We asked Kenya Connect students to tell us how periods and Wings POA have affected their Kenya Connect experiences. Periods are a universally shared experience across cultures. For that reason, we asked Simmons students to read the accounts of Kenya Connect students on their period stories.
My name is Lily, and this is Martha's period story. First, when you miss school, you must say where you were and the reason for being absent. You must miss classes, and also one finds it difficult to catch up with the others. Wings POA helps me to avoid being ashamed of myself and also control the menstruation from coming into contact with my clothes. My favorite part of school is when I'm safe.
My name is Erin, and this is Kasimbi's period story. I have sometimes skipped going to school due to lack of sanitary pads, which makes me feel unhappy because I skip some of the subjects which are so challenging to me. Sanitary pads have helped me in school because most of the time when I have my period, I wear my sanitary pads and I feel so comfortable. My favorite part of school is reading storybooks.
My name is Janelle, and this is Veronica's period story. The worst thing about missing school without sanitary pads is very hurting because you feel bad while your friends are in school and you are at home. The use of sanitary pads has impacted me to not miss school because with them, you feel free. It has also impacted me to feel free to communicate with others without shame. My favorite part of school is academics because with knowledge, you can achieve skills that can make your life comfortable.
My name is Claudia, and this is Cecilia's period story. The worst thing about missing school is missing the day's activities and lessons because not being in school makes me feel uncomfortable. The use of sanitary pads during my menstrual flow has been so good and healthy because I get sanitary pads from my school and other times from my mother. My favorite part of school is being comfortable even if I am on my period because having the pads makes me feel comfortable.
Thank you for listening to Connecting the Dots with Kenya Connect.
Tune into our next episode where we'll be talking about sustainability in Kenya and the impact of solar energy on our Kenya Connect students.